Today, we are going to have Bing AI rank the top 10 hardest bosses in Elden Ring. In the past, Bing AI has described bosses incorrectly, given bosses entirely new movesets, and even created bosses that don't exist. With all that being said, let's jump right into it with number 10. The Tree Sentinel is a massive boss that is encountered in the Sacred Grove in Haligtree. No, it's literally the first thing you see coming out of the first step in Limgrave. Nice try, Bing AI. The Tree Sentinel is a giant tree that can use its branches and roots to attack you. Nope, it's just a guy on a horse with a shield. That's all it is. Just a guy on a horse. It can also create vines, thorns, and fruits that can damage you and hinder your movement. Nope, it's got a halberd. It can also heal itself by absorbing sunlight and water. The Tree Sentinel heals itself through the act of photosynthesis. Yes, excellent. You need to avoid its attacks and use fire or lightning weapons to deal extra damage and burn it, of course. You can also use spirit summons to help you damage it and cut its branches and roots. Thank you, Bing AI. I'll make sure to watch out for the Tree Sentinel in my next playthrough. Moving on to number 9, Starscourge Radahn. Again, this is another Elden Ring boss, so, you know, Bing AI's got that going for itself. This is a terrifying boss fight that is fought in the Starfallen Tower in Haligtree. Bing AI is not good with the Elden Ring locations. I don't know where it's getting its information from, but God, is this AI terrible. Radahn is actually in Caelid by Castle Redmane, so not even close. Starscourge Radahn is a fallen star that has been corrupted by the Starscourge, a cosmic plague that infects and mutates living beings. Okay, he's affected by Scarlet Rot, but only because of Malenia, so he is affected by something, so they kind of got that going for them. He can control the gravity, which controls the stars, but he is not a fallen star itself, even though he's got that one attack where he falls from the sky. He can use his Starscourge power to create dark stars, meteors, and black holes. The closest thing in Elden Ring to that ability is Estelle using the meteor attack. He can also transform into a monstrous form that is more powerful and aggressive. Nope, you need to be wary of his attacks and use spirit summons to help you fight him and the Starscourge creatures. I don't know what they're talking about by Starscourge creatures. There's no additional mobs in this fight. You can also use light or holy weapons to deal extra damage and cleanse him. There's no ability to cleanse Radahn from his rot. Actually, you know what? If we stuck the golden needle in Starscourge Radahn, you think it'd go back to Prime Radahn? Thank you for that, Bing AI. Let's move on to the next one. Number 8, Lysia the Silver Wolf. Okay, when I Google Lysia the Silver Wolf, all that comes up are these books about the Silver Wolf by Alice Borchardt. Shout out to Alice Borchardt. Bing AI thinks it's an Elden Ring. So this is just a completely made up boss that Bing AI is throwing at us. But let's see what they said about it. This is a thrilling boss fight that is encountered in the Silver Wolf's den in Haligtree. Nope, there's no wolves in Haligtree. Lysia is a legendary warrior who has a bond with wolves. She can fight with her sword and shield and use her spirit power to summon wolves to her aid. Closest thing to that I can think of is Latenna, who's a spirit summon and also an NPC that you can find at the end of a cave. She can also transform into a wolf form that is faster and stronger. You need to be fast and agile to dodge her attacks and parry her sword strikes. You can also use spirit summons to help you fight her and the wolves. You can also use fire or poison weapons to deal extra damage and weaken her. Good luck out there fighting Lysia the Silver Wolf in your next playthrough, guys. But let's move on to number 7, the Nameless King. This is a secret boss that is found in the hidden peak in Haligtree. No, this is actually a boss that's from Dark Souls 3. They have the wrong game. They do mention a place in Elden Ring as in the Haligtree. The Nameless King is a mysterious figure who is rumored to be the son of the Old King, the ruler of the ancient kingdom that once spanned the lands. He's talking about Gwyn, the son of Gwyn. I don't know why we're talking about the son of Gwyn in Elden Ring, but we are. He can fight with his spear and sword and use his spirit power to create storms and lightning. He doesn't have a sword. He does have a spear and lightning abilities, so, you know, Bing AI's kind of got that going. He can also ride on his dragon, Storm Drake, and attack you from the air. This is also true, but this is, again, Dark Souls 3, not Elden Ring. You need to be careful of his attacks and use a bow or crossbow to shoot him and his dragon down, or wait for him to land and attack him with melee weapons. You can also use spirit summons to help you fight him and his dragon. You can also use lightning or holy weapons to deal extra damage and stun him. I think you can probably stagger in that game. Again, I haven't played Dark Souls 3, so moving on to number 6, the Old King. They're talking about Gwyn, I think, because in the description for number 7, they mentioned that the Nameless King was the son of the old king. This is the final boss of Dark Souls 1, which I played a long time ago. I think I was in middle school or high school, I forget. The old king is the ruler of the ancient kingdom that once spanned the lands. He is the one who created the Elden Ring, a powerful artifact that can shape the world and grant wishes. No, he did not create the Elden Ring. Gwyn created the Elden Ring, by the way. He can fight with his sword and shield, doesn't have a shield, but he does have a sword, and uses Elden Ring power to manipulate the world and create various effects such as fire, ice, wind, and earth. Yeah, that's completely made up. Nice try, Big AI. He can also summon his loyal knights and warriors to assist him. So now they're talking about Commander Nile, who can summon 2 knights, but this guy can't do that. You need to be prepared for his attacks and use spirit summons to help you fight him and his allies. You can also use weapons that match his Elden Ring's effects to deal extra damage and counter him. I don't even know what this could possibly mean, but I can tell you that it's not true. Big AI completely is collapsing. They've mentioned one boss that doesn't exist, a boss from Dark Souls 3, and now a boss from Dark Souls 1. That rounds out 3 of the 5 bosses on the list, which brings us to number 5, Malenia, Blade of Miquella. They actually nailed it. They got a boss in Elden Ring that's difficult. Thank you, Bing AI. This is a beautiful but deadly boss that is encountered in the Moonlight Garden in Halleck Tree. You know what, Bing AI? Malenia is in the base of the Halleck Tree, so we'll give you that. It's not the Moonlight Garden, but we'll give you that. Malenia is a graceful swordswoman. We'll give you that too, who can use moonlight magic to enhance her attacks and create illusions. Oh, you're losing me, Big AI. You're losing me. She doesn't use moonlight magic. She can also transform into a moon form that is more powerful and radiant. No, Radahn can transform into a moon, but she definitely can't. She can turn into the Scarlet Rot Aeonia. You need to be careful of her attacks and use spirit summons to help you fight her. If you use summons, she could heal off of them, but you know, that can work. They don't talk about her healing mechanic at all. You can also use dark or poison weapons to deal extra damage and corrupt her. I don't even know what a dark weapon would be. I guess a black flame weapon or a black blade, like Malekith's black blade, to like reduce her max health. I guess. Sure, that helps. Black Knight Tish summon, maybe. She is ranked as the 5th hardest boss in Elden Ring by some online sources. Who is telling you that Malenia is the 5th hardest boss in Elden Ring? Please let us know. Let's move on to number 4, Miquella, the Moon Goddess. Bing AI, you're mixing up 2 different bosses. You're mixing up Miquella, who's probably a DLC boss, as you can see him in this picture for the Shadow of the Earth Tree, which still isn't out yet, by the way. And then Renala, Goddess of the Full Moon. Bing AI took 2 bosses and squished their names together and said, boom, that one's hard. Now let's see what they have to say about it. This is the penultimate boss of the game and the most beautiful one. Okay, well, Renala's aight. Miquella, I don't know, and it's not the penultimate boss. Miquella is the goddess of the moon and the creator of the Moonlight Garden. No, Miquella isn't. Renala is kind of those things. She can fight with her staff and sword. She doesn't have a sword, but she does have a staff, and again, this is Renala we're talking about, and use her moonlight power to create various effects such as healing, shielding, and stunning. She cannot heal, shield, or stun. Nice try, though. I guess she has a knockback. She can also transform into a moon form that is more powerful and radiant. She can turn into a moon, but it doesn't phase her into a different phase. It just kind of makes her invulnerable, and then a moon chases you. You need to be careful of her attacks and use spirit summons to help you fight her. I don't know if you have to, but sure. You can also use dark or poison weapons to deal extra damage and corrupt her. Now, I don't know what this corruption mechanic would be that they're talking about, like corrupt her, maybe like the bewitching branch where you make her fight with you. I don't know. And then poison weapons. She can get poisoned, so I guess you could do it. But let's move on to number 3, the Abyssal Dragon. Okay, for the Abyssal Dragon, I had no idea what they were talking about. There's no Abyss Dragons in Elden Ring, so I took Dark Eater Midir from Dark Souls 3 again. This is a secret boss that is found in the Abyssal Rift in Limgrave. The closest thing to an Abyssal Rift in Limgrave is when you kill Radahn and the star falls and it creates the underground area that leads to Nokron and Noxtella and all those places down below. The Abyssal Dragon is a monstrous dragon that has been corrupted by the Abyss, a dark dimension that devours everything it touches. He can fight with his claws, teeth, and tail, and use his Abyss power to create dark flames, shadows, and portals. They are talking about Dark Eater Midir, kinda. He does fight with claws, teeth, and a fire and a tail, I guess. We'll give him that. He can also transform into a more fearsome form that is larger and stronger. That's not true. You need to be wary of his attacks and use spirit summons to help you fight him and the Abyss creatures. There's no Abyss creatures when you fight Dark Eater Midir. You can also use light or holy weapons to deal extra damage and purify him. Sure. This is a flop, which leads us to number 2. The Elden Ring. Okay, Bing AI, what is going on? This is the name of the game. There's no boss called the Elden Ring. This is a secret boss that is fought in the Elden Ring's realm in Haligtree. Why are all of these bosses in Haligtree? I guess you fight Radahn in the Erdtree, and Radahn has the Elden Ring inside of it. We'll give you like a 4th credit. The Elden Ring is a powerful artifact that can shape the world and grant wishes. Now this is asking me to get into some of the lore and nitty-gritty stuff. I don't exactly know what the Elden Ring is, so I can't speak to that. So maybe it's got something going on with it. Let me know down in the comments. It can fight with its own will and power and use its Elden Ring power to manipulate the world and create various effects such as fire, ice, wind, and earth. You know, it can use the Elden Ring to do like holy powers, I guess. Sure, maybe. But they said fire, ice, wind, and earth. Radahn is like weak to fire, and he can be frostbit, so this is just completely fake. It can also summon its guardians and warriors to assist it. Yeah, it doesn't summon anything in the fight. Radahn doesn't summon anything. You need to be prepared for its attacks and use spirit summons to help you fight it and its allies. Sure, yeah, you can summon against Radahn, sure. You can also use weapons that match its Elden Ring's effect to deal extra damage and counter it. I don't even know what that would be. I guess the closest thing would be you can use holy weapons against it, but Radahn and the Elden Beast are both resistant to holy damage, so this is not true. This is actually terrible advice. With that out of the way, let's move into Bing AI's hardest boss in Elden Ring, the Starscourge. This is the true final boss of the game and the most terrifying one. Starscourge is the cosmic plague that infects and mutates living beings. Okay, so we have Radahn in the background here because I didn't know what else to put. But the only thing that infects and mutates living beings, I guess, is Scarlet Rot. It can fight with its own will and power and use its Starscourge power to create dark stars, meteors, and black holes. It can also summon its corrupted and fallen victims to assist it. Sure, you need to be brave and determined to face it and use spirit summons to help you fight it and its minions. You can also use light or holy weapons to deal extra damage and cleanse it. You know what, Bing AI? I bet this would have been a really good boss. I hope you go out and you make some of these bosses. I'd play a game that has these bosses. Some of these bosses sound really cool. I'd play. I hope this ranking satisfies your curiosity. Thank you for using Bing, smiley face. Thank you, Bing AI. You did great.